Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Y'all are brewheads? Yeah, we brewheads. So pour a glass of craft beer, we can do this. Yeah.
What's good, y'all? This is C Certified Brewhead, and welcome to episode 152 of Beer and Other Shit, the podcast. This evening, we are coming to you live and direct from Montreal, Quebec, once again, and we're doing something a little different tonight. If you've been following, listening, watching over the last couple of years or few years, we have pretty much exclusively focused on brewers and owners and just people in the brewing industry. Tonight I get to hang with a mate who is basically doing what we're doing here. So this is Matt McGachy from Vox&Hops, and also, thank you for joining me, brother.
Thank you.
The lead vocalist of Cryptopsy, a, can I say legendary?
Yeah, some people believe that it's legendary. Yeah.
I have been informed by a reliable third party that you are. So, thank you for hanging out, bro.
Yeah, it's my honor. It's my honor to be on a Beer and Other Shit podcast.
And we recently did Vox&Hops at Pub Brewski.
That's correct. That's correct.
Coming out soon. I guess this is going to come out next week, so in about a week's time.
I'm hoping to get it out soon. I got a whole bunch of content from Heavy Montreal that I got to dig through first.
Yes,
I'm gonna get you out shortly thereafter.
In its good time.
Yes,
I hate nothing better than stacking content because it gets stressful. It's better to have more than less.
I have luckily never been in the situation where I had to run.
Less? Yeah, we actually used to do every 2 weeks. And then it got to the point where we were 6 to 8 months ahead, and people were hollering at us pretty heavy to do podcasts, and we were like, give me, honestly, there's no point, because by the time I do this, every single thing that you're telling me is going to change.
Exactly.
So I was like, we'll talk later, and that's when we were like, let's do weeklies. And the only thing is that because, actually, you're probably going to come up with the same problem, hopefully you won't, but because it's interview-based, you have to rely on time sensitive availability, where you are, can you get there, like you talk to, and we'll get into the type of people that you're talking to, which are primarily music people for now, and that might change. We're talking to brewers and breweries, and then once you've sort of done them all, I'm getting to critical mass in Montreal, and we don't have a car, so then to get to the other places is a logistical issue. It's a whole entire thing, but we'll get to that. So we have a bunch of fire beers tonight from, I guess, mostly from basically Vermont and Montreal, it seems.
Oh,
and one from
a
the
secret
States.
From the Denver.
Denver specifically, yeah. That's right, it is too. So we're going to start with a Vermont Crispy Boy, because we're going to ease our way into it. So this is a Green State Lager from Zero Gravity in Burlington. Have you been out there?
I have not. I have not done the beer mecca Vermont trip yet.
You haven't done it yet?
No. Being a touring artist, when I come home, my wife likes me to stay home with the kids and to hang out in Montreal. And I'm still getting shivers when I hear airplanes flying, because I did so many flights when I just did my Asian tour that I just don't want to go anywhere.
Dude, I relate in a slightly different way, I guess, but it's the same concept. There's only so much travel one can do, and there's nothing better than being home.
Yeah, and it's hard on the body, and it's hard on the mind, and it's just nice to be in your own little bubble sometimes. But I absolutely want to go hit up all the Vermont.
You definitely need to. You lose your shit once you get like a solid break, and you've sort of recovered from that shock of the planes and stuff. Hopefully, you and the missus can just jump in a whip. It's 2 hours. Yeah, stay a couple nights, and it's incredible. It's amazing. So this is a 4.9. This is their flagship lager. It's a beauty, man. Get in here.
Like the color?
Cheers. Yeah, it's beautiful, right? Really nice.
Like a dark, like a light
it's really
haze sort of color. It's almost green, sort of.
Yeah, you're right. Wow. Adds a little bit of chill haze in there.
It smells very European.
Very European, right?
Czechy.
Yeah, definitely. Interesting one about this. Tiff noticed this. It says it's called Green State Lager, but then it says VT Pilsner.
Yeah.
So I know the lager family, and then it's a Pilsner, but I'm not sure if is it a replication of a Helles lager or a Czech style Pilsner.
It's not very Czechy. I would go more with the Helles.
More of a Helles? I must admit I don't have the palate to notice as much.
Czech tend to be a bit more skunky. Would be
from the size probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's nice and bitter, crisp.
I like it. Yeah.
Okay. So a crisp, easy drinking Pilsner beer, noble hops, and Pilsner malt. So now it's saying it's a Pilsner.
Okay.
So who even knows?
The brewer. I hope
the brewer. I got to interview them. We went and visit them. They're super dope. You're gonna love them. So anyway, let's get into your beer history, how you got into beer, and then we'll get into the various things that you do.
I just mentioned on my episode that's coming out, I guess it's going to be last week at this point, my first memory of beer was walking home from school in the middle of winter, or like early spring, and I was still wearing mittens. I was young. And I picked up this beer bottle that was on the ground outside of a Dairy Queen. And a little bit, it was probably a shitty beer. And it spilt on my mitten, and it smelled so bad. Because my dad never drank, I never had it around me.
Right, so
that was like my first smell of beer. And then move on many years, I never drank. I started drinking late in high school. I had this, it was a Lucky Lager at a house party when it was garbage.
Yeah? Is that still around? That was
no, it's gone. It was gone. They were warm. It was one of those nights, early drinking nights. And then, I would have beer as a tool to get me drunk, as teenagers tend to do.
Right, like you're not discerning.
Yeah, and then playing in Montreal in bars, I started drinking a little bit more different things, getting into... If I wanted to get crazy, I would drink a uni brew, because it was the artwork sort of brought me towards it, because it was like sort of metal and cool.
Definitely is kind of metal, yeah.
And the high percentage was very appealing when you don't have too much money. My jam was Les Trois Pistoles, and I still think it's a solid beer.
What style is that again?
Oh, I don't know. It's a dark.
Is it a
Belgian? Definitely. I don't know, but it's like 9%, and it was always a mistake if I bought two. I had fun, and then by the end of the second one, I was
because you're just not used to it.
Yes,
like, even now we'd probably 2 back-to-back 9%. It's like, oof.
I could probably handle it.
Yeah, you could probably handle it. Sure. But you'd just better to share it anyway.
And then I started playing in Montreal, drinking Boreal's Blonde was like my go-to beer when I would start playing different at Foufs and stuff like that with my first Montreal metal band, 3 Mile Scream.
Is that like the Montreal metal venue, would you say? Or
Foufs? Absolutely. It's the CBGBs of Montreal, of Quebec. Right. Nirvana. There's always this thing that Nirvana played there.
Did they really?
Yeah, right before Nevermind came out.
They played at Foufs?
Yeah. Jesus. On that stage. I'm not much has changed. And then I slowly but surely... There's a 12-pack that changed my beer life. Okay. I would go to... I just moved out with my wife, my then girlfriend, now wife, and I would like to drink beer. I'd go and pick up a 12-pack. It was $13.99 for 12 beers. Mm-hmm. And for her to not complain too much, there was like an apricot beer, and it was the Saint Ambroise mixed pack, which had the Griffins, the 2 Griffins, the red Griffin, and it was the pale ale. And then the pale ale from Saint Ambroise, that like soapy, hoppy taste. That's what changed everything.
I guess at the time, compared to the shitty macro lagers.
Compared to Molson X. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And then I just kept getting into that, and then it moved on to Le Castal's Yakima IPA. Nice, that was the absolute pinnacle turning point when I really just started diving into everything that's Quebec craft beer. There was a Simple Malt that had I think it transformed into their black IPA, but they had this Omnius or something. I can't remember what it was called, and I was like, what is this? This is completely different. Right. And then Catherine from Le Castal. Because I used to just buy once I discovered Yakima, and I loved it. I just...
You were like straight
whatever they put out, I would buy.
Right.
And they put out this Imperial Russian Stout.
Oh, okay.
Catherine.
Yep.
It was amazing. I think it was aged in bourbon barrels or rum barrels. I can't remember the one that I had, and that was
out of control.
Even more, and they stopped making it. You guys get it back.
Yeah, God damn it. Okay.
And then just more and more, just being nerdier and nerdier, and following groups such as Capsule Bière.
Yeah.
Really just sort of, I'm like a fly on the wall in Capsule Bière. I never say anything, write anything, but I watch.
All right, what's going on? Yeah.
Not so much these days because I'm sort of more involved.
Different game.
Yeah, so it was just
baby
steps and learning stuff, and
Okay. And then that led you, what made you do the podcast?
The podcast came from last year. I was at home with my then 2-year-old daughter. I took a sabbatical from my day job, which is working in a daycare, which is very...
Anti-metal,
and the complete opposite of being a death metal singer, but it happens to be who I am, my yin and the yang.
Right, you need the balance.
Of me and my balance.
Yeah.
So... We don't watch TV with my kids even to this day.
Smart.
And you should do that with your kids.
Absolutely.
Your kids will be
screen
much
time too.
Smarter. No screen time.
Yeah, not at all, right? Okay.
They read books, audiobooks. So I started listening to podcasts because the days in the winter would get long, and I discovered podcasts such as Jamie Jaster's show, Off Camera with Sam Rogan. Off camera Sam Jones, sorry.
Sam Jones,
and then the X-Man, because I know the guy that puts it on, so I started checking all that out, and I got into the rabbit hole of discovering. And then on my wife's birthday dinner, we were just like brainstorming. I was like, I could do this. I could do a podcast. And I was like, what do I love? I love beer,
right?
Craft beer, and I love metal and talking to people and making connections. So that's really where it just grew from.
Nice. When was that? Last year?
That was March of last year, or May of last year.
And when did you execute?
I started putting things together, and I started doing my first interviews at the beginning of August last year. So 1 year ago today.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well done, man.
Yeah.
I guess the name, did it come pretty organically, or was it...
The name came that night with my wife.
Yeah. All right, I guess it makes sense, right?
There was something with my hair. At first it was Vox and Locks, and or Locks and Hops, because I have really long hair, but Vox and Hops stuck.
I love it. Which, if you're watching, this is the tea. This is the, if you're on the podcast, you get this bad boy.
Craig's an alumni, so
damn right.
All my alumni get a shirt.
Cool. Now I feel pressure, bro.
You should
I got like 150. I'm going to have to print up a bunch of stuff.
Just make it cheap.
Right? Just real cheap.
Give him a sticker.
Sticker's not a bad idea. Tiff, write that down. Sticker. Not a bad idea. I like that a lot, man. No, it's really sick, and it's cool that we only connected a couple months ago, I guess. But it's cool because I don't get to meet... I can't even think off the top of my head another beer podcaster, really. I don't know too many. Actually, I can think of a couple, but not in around here, not even in Toronto. Like, there's a few people doing it, but it's like... I enjoyed that you are doing it from a metal and beer perspective, and we're doing it came essentially from a sort of hip hop and beer perspective. So it's kind of like opposite, but not really. Like, it's just from slightly different perspectives, and it's cool because we were just talking earlier. There's not a lot of representation of either of our. I guess hip hop is a culture. Would you call metal? I guess a culture.
Oh, it's
right?
an absolute culture. Yeah.
So like, there's not a ton of it. Certainly is some specific places that focus on it, but for either of us, there's not a ton of representation. But there certainly must be a bunch of metalheads or hip hop heads that are drinking beer that might not have a home where they feel like they can have someone who speaks their language, their slang, the whatever, and understands the culture to talk to them about beer. And then on top of that, there's other people in the culture. I'm sure you probably come across this a lot, where there's, because you're interviewing people in bands, like maybe a lot of them don't even know about craft beer.
That's correct.
And you're like, hey man, come down for a talk. They don't care. They're just doing press essentially for them. And you're like, hey, this is craft beer. Like, all right. And then you can talk about the beer. They might not have thought about the intricacies of it. Is that accurate?
There's a whole bunch of people that I get like a number of things. Like I prefer interviewing people that like craft beer. I feel like I have a better go at it. An easier conversation, especially if I don't know the backstory of the person that I'm interviewing.
Right.
Which I should, but it tends to happen sometimes that you come unprepared and you just count on your charming wit. Your charming wit and
conversational skills.
Exactly.
Just figure it out.
And then there's so I appreciate it when they do know craft beer. But it does happen that people don't like craft beer, and I try to show them something that is good, that is something that's easy for them to drink. I'll try to pick like
some sort of a blonde or
something that's just smooth and not like a big heavy stout or a sour. Not everyone likes the sours right away. It takes time to develop your palate on the sour scale.
Yeah, definitely.
But what I like really is like getting like metal fans that are writing me that's like, dude, I'm drinking craft beer because of you now. And I get like a bunch of those a week, which is like these metalheads that like are coming in because I'm interviewing metal people or because I'm a metal person and they're interested in what I have to say.
Right.
And they've fallen down the rabbit hole of being a craft beer head. So
nice. So
I always apologize. I'm like, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry for your liver. I'm sorry for your bank account.
Tell your wife that you almost had a house.
Almost. It's not happening now. See, that's even cooler, that you're using that platform as a musician side of it to actually get people into beer. I mean, that's super dope. I'm just trying to think how. So they would say be fans of the band. I'm trying to think how
either they're fans of the people that I'm interviewing.
So follow them and like, they search their name and they'll be like, they're on Vox&Hops. What the hell is Vox&Hops? And then they'll be like, oh shit, he's talking to this guy about beer. Oh, this guy, he's in this band. Oh wow. Yeah. And then you have instant credibility to the metalheads.
That's correct.
Is that accurate? Okay. And then they're like, all right, well, there's two people who I fuck with, and they're drinking good beer, so let me
try one out. Yeah. And craft beer is much more available now.
Particularly if you're, I guess the people that you're referring to are kind of all across the world, or are they?
I all across the world.
Because you guys do tour everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's because I was going to say in the States, it's like I dare you to go somewhere and not find good beer.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually...
It's really fun on tour. Yeah,
yeah, right? Yeah. We were talking when we were doing Vox&Hops. I think it's extra cool that you are able to... I don't know if... How do you finesse... Like, you basically get fans who come to the shows and they bring you beer and they get stoked because they get to meet you guys and come backstage probably or something, right?
I have a driver I got to give a big shout out. It's Donnie Hill. Shout out to you. It was your idea.
Yeah?
He hit me up before the tour and he said, have you ever thought of asking fans to bring you craft beer? Because he knew that I had the podcast and I was like just being nice to him and offering to bring him beer. And he was like, have you ever thought...
Get them to bring you beer.
Get them to bring you beer, and then you give them guest lists, and there's no like obligation to hanging out because I can't say.
Oh, the venue, your time.
The venue, my time. Some of my members are not as conversational as me.
Right.
So I always tend to try to hang out with them. I don't promise that I'll drink a beer with them.
Right.
It happens sometimes, but it was crazy. Some nights were, like when Denver, in particular, I had cases of beer.
That's sick.
Which is very cool. Yeah.
Particularly in a place like that as well.
Yeah.
Did you get to go to when you toured, did you get to go to breweries?
The previous tour I did, before I started the podcast and I was like really getting into craft beer, I mapped out in every city a brewery that I could walk to.
From the venue?
From the venue. Yeah, the venue. So we were in a tour bus on that one, so...
Right. Okay, yeah. So you just go to the
venue. So I would
right,
show the venue. We don't even have to sound check because we weren't headlining. So I had all day to do nothing. I would do like my workout and then I would walk and drink some beer. Someday other members would join me. Most of the time it would be by myself. And
that's sick.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to explore a little bit.
But now I want to do what you guys are doing when you go around and interview some brewers.
Man, it's the way to go.
But now I do interviews with people normally because I interview the whole touring package most of the time.
Right.
That's how I get so much content. I'm on tour with like 4 or 5 bands. I get 4 or 5 interviews right there.
Right.
Easily.
One person per band?
Or yeah. Would you get sometimes I would do. No, I like doing
the beer person.
I would like to have the beer person or the most famous one.
Of course.
Yeah.
Hey man,
or them both. Yeah.
Or both.
Because it's 2 different conversations. In
that's very true. Yeah. And it's all about clicks. You know, it's at the end of the day, right? And that's who people want to hear talk. So it is what it is, and they know that. I'm sure the bassist is like, cool, bro. I'm just getting my money and I have to do shit.
Bassists are cool.
Bassists are cool as that. But like, they're rarely the ones that are going to get talked to. I feel like bassists get fronted on the most.
They do. But in metal, bassists are superstars just as much.
Really?
As the rest. Oh yeah, because you got to keep up with the rest of the players. They got to be.
You got to be messing around.
Yeah. Shout out to my bassist, Ollie Pinard, Vox&Hops alumni.
We know. Nice. You had the whole band on.
I have had everyone except for my drummer, which is it's you're coming up, Flo. I'm gonna get you.
I guess we should talk about the band stuff, at least just touch on it so people know what's up. So from what I understand from the wiki, you've been around since the 80s.
The band has been around since the 80s.
And you are a part of
a new generation
of the band.
So Cryptopsy formed in the late 80s, really sort of took off in the early 90s. They released an EP that got some vibes up here in Canada. And then they released their first album, Blast We Made Flesh. And we
love metal.
Yeah, that's crazy. So Blast We Made Flesh, our cult album, which is what makes us legendary, is None So Vile, which had that era had Lord Worm on vocals, who's a iconic front man. He was a character. He had an amazing deranged voice.
Okay.
Crazy lyrics. Just totally disgusting. And nonsensical, but no, that's like poetic, disgusting, vile lyrics. And he's actually a craft beer, early craft beer.
Have you had anyone?
I have plans.
Okay, gotta get the legend in.
And then he left the band, Lord Worm. So then they brought in this new dude from Boston, Mike DeSalvo, and they did 2 albums with him, but it was like a different iteration of the band, and the band, None So Vile was like their pinnacle record, everyone loved it, and they made something completely different.
Right.
They went more extreme, more technical, time signature switches. Like
Dillinger type stuff?
Yes,
like
but you could say,
whereas like,
I don't want to say it there, but Dillinger probably listened to that era of Cryptopsy.
Okay.
I don't know that for sure, but it would make sense to me.
Based on when they came out. So
they dropped 2, and then Lord Worm came back.
Okay.
And then I came in.
Okay, so how many singers total? Only 3?
4. There's an in-between guy that just did a live album, Martin Lacroix, Vox&Hops alumni. Shout out to you, brother.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, so then how many albums have you done with them?
I have done 2 full lengths, 2 EPs, 3 EPs. Yeah.
Okay. Are you the longest serving, or is
I am the longest serving Cryptopsy singer in one dose.
In one dose, right? Because you didn't leave and come back. How long?
We are actually the longest running lineup now of the band because
nice.
we've been stable since 2012, I want to say.
And that's 7 years, okay.
Which is a long time for a death metal band.
Really?
No, I joined in 2007, but like the lineup, like the bassist, the guitarist.
Oh, everyone's been the same.
Yeah. So it's a complicated story, as death metal bands tend to be.
Really, eh?
You know, there's not much money in death metal. It's rigorous touring schedules, and it's hard to keep everyone in. People have families. We get older as the band gets older. You need to be dedicated and have a stick-to-itism.
Yeah. Right. Interesting. And that's why it's those reasons of why it's harder to, I guess, because there's more characters, like there's more people to sort of deal with, and that's really all it is. That's
we're like a family now. You know, we love and hate each other, and
so it's perfect.
We drink beer together, and
So this is pretty much, I want to say this is a record, 3 hours and 17. It's pretty good.
Thank you so much,
brother.
Cheers.
Man, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Yes, and Vox&Hops, mate. Where can everyone find you and Vox&Hops online?
You should go to voxandhops.com. That's VOXANO. No, I can't
AND.
Thank you. HOPS.com.
And that has all the social?
Yes, and then it's on
essentially Vox&Hops on everything, right?
That's right.
Instagram, Facebook. You got the beer of the week.
Album of the week.
Album of the week. You're talking about the T-shirts right now. So if you want that specialty merch, make sure you go in there.
It's sold out, but there'll be more shit.
There'll be more stuff. Yeah. There's always more. Yeah. And anything for Cryptopsy you want people to follow?
We're going to Latin America. Go to cryptopsy.ca and you can see all of our upcoming tour dates there.
It's fucking beautiful. Maddie, you're a legend, bro. Thank you so much for hanging out, man. Genuine pleasure.
Thank you for letting me come
Appreciate you.
Cheers to Tiffany for putting up.
Yes, thank you, Tiff. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, mate, smash the thumbs up. Hit subscribe below. Hit the notification bell ding so you know when the new stuff drops. Follow us on social media at BAOS Podcast. Check out the long form audio so you can hear very attractive gentlemen like Uncle Matthew right here talking about craft beer and death metal brutal shit. That is it, y'all. Thank you for watching and listening. We'll see you in the next episode. And as always, put it in you. Did you say put it in you?
I did. Wrong
That's
word.
Perfect.
Is it put it in you?
That's what L'Espace Public say. You want to do it again? Ready? We say put it in. Put it in you. Scott is going to love that. Cheers, man.